Have you ever really thought about what's going on inside your computer? I mean, it's not just some magic box, right? Today, we're going to break it all down, look at the essential parts by asking one simple, but honestly, pretty powerful question.
And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to use a really cool analogy. Just imagine for a second, what if your computer was a person? Yeah, seriously. If we think of it like a living, breathing body, it suddenly makes a whole lot more sense what each part does and why every single one is so important.
All right, here's the game plan. We'll start with the body's framework, then we'll check out the brain, its memory, both short and long term, then its senses and voice, and even the hidden stuff that keeps it alive. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together.
Okay, let's dive right in. I mean, think about it. For our computer body to work at all, every single part has to be connected. They've got to be able to talk to each other. Nothing can just do its own thing in a vacuum. And that's where this thing comes in, the motherboard. This is the big kahuna, the main circuit board that physically connects everything. It's this complex web of circuits, slots, and ports that holds the whole system together. So, in our person analogy, the motherboard is basically the body's central nervous system. It's that super intricate network of nerves that lets the brain send signals to your hands, your feet, well, to the rest of the body. It makes sure every single part is working in perfect harmony. Without it, you've just got a pile of expensive, useless parts.
All right, so the body's all connected. Now let's talk about the part that does all the thinking. I'm talking about where every command, every calculation, every single decision starts. Let's look at the computer's brain.
And that would be the CPU, the central processing unit. You can think of this as the ultimate workhorse of the entire system. It's built to handle all sorts of different tasks, one right after another, just chugging along, executing instructions, crunching numbers, and basically directing traffic for all the information.
So yeah, in short, it's the brain. Or to be more specific, it's the logical brain. It's the center of reasoning that runs the whole show. But for the really complex visual stuff, it's got a super specialized partner. And that partner is the GPU, the Graphics Processing Unit. Now, this is a totally different kind of processor. It's specifically designed to handle the insane workload of rendering graphics. See, while a CPU is great at doing things one by one, in order, a GPU is a master of parallel processing. It can tackle thousands and thousands of simple tasks all at the same time.
And this really breaks down that division of labor perfectly. You've got the CPU, the logical brain, handling all the general stuff. Then you've got the GPU, which is more like the visual or artistic brain. It focuses all its power on creating what you see, everything from your desktop background to insane 3D games. And you absolutely need both for the whole thing to work.
Okay, so a brain is pretty useless without memory, right? And just like us, a computer has two totally different kinds of memory. There's one for what it's thinking about right now, and then there's one for, well, everything it's ever learned.
And understanding the difference is absolutely crucial. So you've got RAM. Think of RAM as the computer's short-term memory. It's like your desk or your workbench. It holds all the stuff you're actively working on right now. But, and this is a big but, it's volatile. That means when you turn the power off, the desk gets wiped completely clean. Now your hard drive or your SSD, that's the long-term memory. That's the filing cabinet, the library, where you store everything permanently. Your files, your software, your photos, just like your actual memories.
And that long-term memory, that archive, it comes in a few different flavors. Inside your machine, you'll probably have a super fast solid-state drive, or SSD, to get to things quickly. Or maybe a bigger traditional hard disk drive, an HDD, for storing tons of stuff. And of course, for taking things on the go, we've got things like USB flash drives and memory cards.
Okay, so let's recap. Our computer body has a nervous system, a brain, and memory. Awesome. But how does it actually interact with the world? How does it see, hear, or talk? Well, through its senses and its voice.
This is where input devices come in. They're basically the computer's senses. You know, your keyboard and mouse, that's its sense of touch. The webcam, that's its eyes, its sense of sight. And the microphone is its hearing. These are all the ways the outside world gives information to the computer.
And on the flip side, you have the output devices. This is how the computer talks back to us. The monitor is like its face, showing us things, giving us visual expressions. The speakers are its voice. A printer is kind of like its ability to write things down on paper. It's all about how the system expresses itself back out into the world.
And this body isn't just sitting in a room by itself, right? It needs to communicate with others. That's where networking parts, like your Wi-Fi card, come in. It's how a computer person talks to billions of other computer people all over the globe.
But underneath all the stuff we actually see, the brain thinking, the senses working, there are these other systems working tirelessly just to keep the whole thing alive. These are the unsung heroes, the hidden life support systems.
Let's walk through what happens when it wakes up. The second you hit that power button, the power supply unit, which is basically the heart, starts pumping energy or electricity through the whole system. At the exact same instant, the BIOS gives it that first little spark, like a basic instinct that says, okay, time to wake up, and here's how you do it. And simultaneously, the cooling system kicks in. The fan starts spinning. It's like the body taking its first breath, regulating its temperature so it doesn't overheat.
So there you have it, all the individual pieces. Now let's just take a quick step back and see how this all comes together to make a complete system.
And this little chart really puts it all in perspective. Every major part of the computer has a pretty clear parallel in our body analogy. You've got the motherboard as the nervous system, the PSU as the heart, the CPU as the brain, RAM and SSDs as different kinds of memory. Each one has a super important job, but the real magic is how they all interact and work together.
And honestly, the most incredible part of all of this, it's that this complex symphony of all these different components works in almost perfect harmony, completely behind the scenes, just to create that smooth, seamless experience that you and I use every single day without even thinking about it.
Which, it all kind of leads to this one fascinating question. As our computers get more and more powerful, more and more connected, where does the machine actually end? And where does this body begin? Something to chew on. Thanks for hanging out with me for this one.